Imagine this. $4.6 billion vanishes in a matter of weeks. The guy who lost it, he wasn't reckless, and he definitely wasn't stupid. In fact, he had a Nobel Prize specifically for figuring out how financial markets work. Meanwhile, halfway across the country, another guy was getting quietly, obscenely rich doing almost nothing at all. He bought boring companies, ignored the 24/7 news cycle, and, by his own admission, took a whole lot of naps. Same markets, same years. One of them blew up his fund so badly it almost dragged the entire global financial system down with him. The other? He became one of the richest human beings to ever walk the earth. So, spoiler alert, this isn't a script about being smart. The smartest guy in the room went completely broke. This is about the 12 specific mistakes that quietly blow up intelligent people's money over and over again in every single generation. These are the exact 12 mistakes that our nap-loving billionaire, Warren Buffett, has spent 60 years refusing to make. Today, we're walking through the 12 investing mistakes Warren Buffett has spent his entire life warning people about, and what they are costing you in real dollars. Every mistake on this list boils down to the exact same thing: the price you pay for trying to be smarter than the market instead of more patient than it. I call it the genius tax. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1, trying to time the market. You've thought about doing this, or you've actually tried it, waiting for the dip, getting out before the crash, trying to buy at the bottom and sell at the very top. It feels like the smartest possible move. It's also hands down one of the dumbest, because it assumes you can see a future that literally nobody alive can predict. Buffett once wrote that the only value of stock forecasters is to make fortune tellers look good. The market does most of its heavy lifting on a tiny handful of explosive days, and those best days almost always happen right next to the terrifying worst days. If you pull your money out when things look scary, you inevitably miss the massive rebound. Time in the market always beats timing the market. Mistake number 2, paying high fees. Right now, there is a very good chance a silent number is quietly eating your life savings. No bill arrives in the mail, nothing stings at checkout. It's just a small percentage, like 1% or 2%, skimmed off the top of your mutual funds or by your financial advisor. Buffett warns that when Wall Streeters manage trillions, it's the managers who get rich, not the clients. A 2% fee over 30 years can stroll out the door with over 40% of everything you built. That's the difference between retiring at 60 or retiring at 72. Never hand over certainty, fees, to rent a maybe, a fund manager trying to beat the market. Mistake number 3 and 4, letting fear and greed run the show, and over-trading. Active traders underperform the market by a massive margin. They do it to themselves, one confident click at a time on their brokerage apps. You check your phone at red lights, constantly buying and selling because it feels like you're in control. In reality, it's just a bill you pay to feel busy while you quietly lose. Plus, overtrading hits you with extra taxes, eating away at your compounding growth. Mistake number 5, investing in things you don't actually understand. Just because you drink the coffee doesn't mean you understand the coffee company's profit margins or debt structure. Buffett built his career on the circle of competence. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. When a new sector catches fire, like crypto, AI, or biotech, people pour their savings in because they are scared of missing out. Then the sector cools, the tourists panic and sell at the bottom, and only the people who actually understood the business are left standing. A rising price tag isn't knowledge, it's bait. Mistake number 6, anchoring on the price you paid. This is known as catching falling knives. You bought a stock at $50 and it drops to $30. Instead of asking if it's still a good business, you anchor on to that $50 number. You buy more at $30, then more at $20, telling yourself you're a bargain hunter. What you're actually doing is shoveling money into a dying business. The stock doesn't know you, and it doesn't care what you paid for it. If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Mistake number 7, following the crowd. If you've ever bought something just because a Reddit thread or your group chat told you it was going to the moon, you've fallen into this trap. Ancient wiring in our brains tells us to run with the herd. In investing, the herd buys you a front row seat to every bubble and shakes you out at the bottom of every crash. The crowd can get you into a position, but it will never tell you when to leave. Be independent, not just a contrarian. Mistake number 8, using leverage. Remember our Nobel Prize winners from earlier? They helped run a fund called Long-Term Capital Management. They were brilliant, but they borrowed heavily, roughly $25 for every $1 they actually had. Leverage is a magnifying glass. When the market dipped just 4%, it erased 100% of their actual money. To make money they didn't need, they risked what they did have and did need. Margin calls will force you to sell at the absolute bottom. Don't use borrowed money to invest. Mistake number 9, confusing price with value. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. The price is just a flickering number on a screen based on millions of people's emotions on a Tuesday afternoon. Value is what the underlying business is actually worth, based on the real cash it generates. If a stock falls 30%, but the underlying business is still making incredible money, Buffett sees a sale. Amateurs just see a scary red number. Don't confuse the price tag with the business inside the box. Mistake number 10, selling your winners too early. This is the most expensive mistake you'll ever make that actually feels responsible. You buy a great company, it goes up 50%, and you sell it to lock in profits. You just amputated your own future. The magic of investing is compounding, and compounding is a curve that stays flat for years before going completely vertical. More than 60% of your wealth shows up in the final decade. When you sell early, you pull the seeds out of the dirt just to admire the roots. Mistake number 11, getting diversification wrong. Buffett says diversification is protection against ignorance. If you do the homework and truly understand a few amazing businesses, concentrate your bets. But, and this is a big but, if you are a regular person who isn't analyzing balance sheets for a living, you should just buy a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Trying to pick 50 random stocks you don't understand gives you all the risk with none of the returns. Diversify according to your ignorance, not your ego. Mistake number 12, hiding in cash and ignoring inflation. After hearing about all these crashes and traps, you might think, I'll just keep all my money in a savings account where it's safe. This is secretly the most expensive mistake on the entire list. Cash isn't safe. It is slowly dying from inflation. A dollar loses almost half its buying power over 20 years at a normal 3% inflation rate. You didn't avoid risk, you just guaranteed a slow, quiet loss. Short-term emergency money belongs in cash. Long-term wealth belongs in productive assets. Look at that list again. Notice what isn't on it? There's no mistake called not being smart enough. There's no mistake called being bad at math. Every single one of these 12 errors is just a genius tax. It's the price you pay for trying to outsmart the market instead of just outlasting it. You don't need a higher IQ to build immense wealth. You need temperament, patience, and humility. You need the nerve to sit on your hands and do nothing while everyone around you is screaming to do something. Warren Buffett, the richest guy in our story, got there by buying boring companies and taking naps. Avoid these 12 mistakes. Stop being your own worst enemy on a random Tuesday and just let your money do the work for you. Thanks so much for watching. If this video helped you, hit the like button, subscribe, and go take a nap. I'll see you in the next one.